Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name is Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, Marine Corps, and law enforcement veteran, and I would argue I'm a real Republican in that I actually believe in real Republican values, unlike a healthy chunk of MAGA. So we could talk about that, but let's talk about something else for now. Stephen Bedell II is in hot water right now. He is saying some spicy things in reference to the Charlie Kirk assassination. He has a short clip called The Prisoner's Dilemma that I want to review and break down because supposedly it explains some of his, what I would call spicy / bad behavior. And I want to see if there's some kind of like logical backing for it. So let's watch this together. I'll be pausing intermittently and breaking it down.
This sounds like a bad thing to say, and people don't like to think of it this way, but the reality is there are like 4 different worlds that we can live in, and it relates to like this concept of like a prisoner's dilemma. It's a paradoxical setup kind of where there is a positive outcome for 2 different players. However, both players basically become incentivized using logic to take the worst outcome, basically, for collectively. You have 2 different people who are caught, and the 2 people who are caught.
Seven says, do their events have security? Yeah, they do, but Charlie Kirk had security, bud.
Are being interrogated by the police, and then
Svalin says, why is it okay for Elon for directly calling for violence, but Steven's edgy points are too far? Because Elon's call for violence aren't good, Svalin. Dude, I swear to God, listen, I'm going to be fucking mean, okay? I parasocially love you guys. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that I got 300 viewers. You guys have been incredibly generous the entire past week. In my opinion, it sucks that somebody has to get murdered in order for me to make, really good money, but it is what it is. So I feel weird about getting so much money from you guys when somebody gets killed, but it is what it is. If you guys enjoy the content, you feel like I'm a good lighthouse in the storm, then I guess I should make my peace with that. But the point is that nobody said that Elon Musk calling for violence was good, Svalin. You're jousting windmills. No one here said Elon Musk calling for violence or escalating the rhetoric is good. Nobody fucking said that. So don't pretend that anybody said that. Even on this panel where they're talking about Donald Trump, I almost guarantee you if you said, hey, do you think Donald Trump should calm shit down a little bit? I'll go ahead and defend it, or I'll go ahead and de-escalate. But do you think Donald Trump should de-escalate? I almost guarantee you, if you weren't pressing them while being a dick about it, they'd be like, yeah, everything's too hot right now. We need to calm down a little bit. I almost guarantee you those people would say that shit. Even fucking Jack Posobiec, who's a fucking loser. So, sorry. Doesn't work on me, Stalin. Doobie says, yeah, I don't know how Z intends to make any real progress with I'll Mock the Widow guy at the head of her events. Well, and then what happens if the I'll Mock the Widow guy gets shot at your events? That's going to be super bad.
the question is do you cooperate with the police and rat out your friend, or do you not cooperate with the police? I shouldn't be using cooperate, or do you not work with the police and then you cooperate with your friend? That's supposed to be phrased, right? Okay, we'll say prisoner 1 cooperates and prisoner 2 cooperates. Okay, if this happens, then we'll say that both people get sentenced to 1 year in jail. Okay, this is what happens if both people cooperate with each other, not with the cops. They cooperate with each other, right? This is the cooperative thing. They cooperate with each other, and so what happens is they don't rat on each other, and the cops don't have enough evidence to lock them up for the more severe crimes, so then they both go to jail for 1 year. In another world, you have both of them betraying each other, and then both of them end up in jail for 3 years, okay? And then
Okay, says, does anyone else think Nathaniel being a groiper is just a way to keep him safe if someone tries to take out Destiny? Distance makes him not a target. That just crossed my mind a few days ago. I don't think so. I think it's teenage rebellion. I don't think he's thinking that far ahead. Clizzard for 5 says, Steven really feels like he's falling into the Boondocks, a soft N-word moment where he is fighting needlessly hot instead of any self-control. Well, I mean, it's been a spicy week, so I don't begrudge him that. Again, I just disagree with, I disagree with his tactics. I disagree with his optics. I think they're bad. So maybe this will change my mind. I can't imagine it'll change my mind, but we'll see.
And in one where you have 1 betrayal and 1 cooperator, the betrayer guy ends up in jail for 0 years, and the betrayed guy ends up in jail for, okay, something like this. Okay, I'm drawing this out, sorry. Okay, prisoner's dilemma, okay? If both people cooperate with each other and neither of them do any defecting from each other, they don't betray each other, both of them go to jail for 1 year, all right, if they cooperate. If both of them defect or betray each other, they both go to jail for 3 years, okay? the guy who cooperates with the police, the guy who works with the police, and defects from his partner, he gets 0 years, and then the other guy gets 5 years. So when you first come to this model, I think the kind of like the on a first glance, you might think like, okay, well, both of us should obviously cooperate, because if we both cooperate, then we both get 1 year in jail, which is a decent, that's an okay outcome, right? But if you know that the other person is incentivized.
Okay, Ved Sunil and Doobie, I swear to God, Ved Sunil, you don't have to dox yourself on stream, but where do you live? Do you live on the West Coast? I think you and Doobie need to go get a fucking beer, because every time that you guys are in my chat, Ved Sunil says Doobie is an unserious, kooky, tanky. He really doesn't matter compared to D. And then Doobie is just like in here being like, I think the Red Sea crisis is based. Like, dude, just let him do his thing. Like, I get that you hate him, but at this point, you guys need a smoochie kiss.
To cooperate, and you're incentivized to cooperate, but you know.
Sorry, real quick. Witho says, hi, Counterpoints Politics. I'm from the DGG world. Just want to say I appreciate your fervor to take your party back from the freak show. I was raised with similar notions of republicanism. Godspeed. Thank you, Witho. I appreciate you. Now, I'm already seeing a problem here, okay? The whole point is that we're in this shit together, all right? So if we have to believe, if you want to avoid civil war, as a matter of fact, fuck this. I'm going to pull up my own paint, even if I totally fuck it up. So let's say that, let's not analogize this to the prisoner's dilemma. Let's go ahead and make it more specific to our current situation. Why not? So we have the current United States of America, and we have the current toxic level of our discourse, and we have, let's say, person 2C, person 2B, person 1C, person 1B. I don't know what this is. So let me just go ahead and do my own thing. Let's do person 1. Oh, there's 4 scenarios. I guess I'll copy his thing, but I don't know what the acronyms are. Well, no, I shouldn't copy his acronyms then, because I think they're... All right, so let's say the outcomes are, let's do P1A, person 1A, person 1B. Is that what he's doing? Person 2A, person 2B. Oh, no. I get it. Sorry. Person 2. P2B. I think this will work. P1B. Okay, so let's say that these are political tribes. This is the left and the right, all right? And we have the scenario where we can cooperate and we can avoid civil war. That's the option. Then this is civil war / troubles. I should just put, yeah, so I'll just put civil war for the sake of understanding. This is civil war. And then this is, what is it? Is this if they snitch on each other? Yeah. So, I don't know. Mutually assured destruction. So I think what we're going to end up doing through the game, through the gamesmanship, is that ultimately what Steven is going to say is that it would be better to engage in mutually assured destruction rather than allowing civil war to occur. But this is true on the right wing as well. If I'm jumping ahead, please let me know. The way that the left and the right feel, matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and delete this shit. I can label these left and right. The way that the right wing feels is that they've been backed into a corner culturally, academically, et cetera, et cetera. And so as a result, they have nothing to lose but their chains. Now, they're stupid for believing that, because oftentimes right wingers are disproportionately wealthy, well-to-do, middle class, et cetera, et cetera. So they're stupid for thinking that they have nothing to lose, but that's the way that they feel, right? And then it's the same thing with the left. We got trans people, we got black people, we got Hispanic people. They all feel like they're in an existential crisis. So if we cooperate, if the left and right cooperate, we avoid civil war. If the left and right fight each other, but neither one puts down their arms, then we result in the mutually assured destruction where, yeah, sure, a few people might get killed, but we avoid civil war. And then if the left unilaterally puts down its arms and the right wing doesn't, then we have civil war where the left loses. And if the right wing unilaterally puts down its arms and the left wing engages in civil war, then the right wing loses. But that's not the situation. That's not even the morality that we're calling for. I brought this up yesterday or the day before. What I'm calling for is I'm not asking the left to unilaterally disarm. What I'm asking the left to do is I'm saying that the right wing is currently not interested in playing fair or engaging in diplomacy, but the left wing should engage in diplomacy. And they should also be ready that if the right wing, instead of bringing up their hand in friendship to negotiate a new American peace, and the right wing instead brings up the gun of civil war, the left wing brings up the gun of civil war and shoots the right wing in the face, metaphorically, of course. So when we're dealing with this prisoner's dilemma, what I'm trying to do, which is actually really interesting that he was able to highlight it so quickly, is I am trying to do this situation as much as possible. Whereas I'm kind of arguing that Stephen's rhetoric pushes us, green, pushes us more towards a right-wing dominant civil war. Because his rhetoric is so abrasive, so repulsive to the person of average morality, that he's basically making it easier for the left wing to surrender, in my opinion. Now, maybe you guys disagree. Maybe you're saying like, no, this is actually emboldening liberals and leftists to not disavow bad behavior. Therefore, we're going to end up in the mutually assured destruction category box. But I don't agree. I think he's pushing us more towards this box than he is towards this box or this box.
But if you defect, he's going to go to jail for 0 years and you're going to jail for 5 years. Well, now you're in an awkward spot where he's incentivized to defect because it's going to be better for him, but it's going to be significantly worse for you. And so you're kind of in a situation where you should also defect. So you can.
Sorry, real quick. Czar for 35 MMA Art says Czar Money says, Connor, can you please talk some sense into this man? I don't even disagree with him. He has to learn to be smarter and play the optics game, though. I mean, I'm with you. I'm trying.
Kind of like deductively reason out that both of you basically have to defect against each other. And then that leads to both of you in jail for 3 years. This is obviously not a great outcome. So it's kind of like a weird way that when you look at these models where you can't enforce cooperation, I mean, there's a ton of like things that you can take from this on, how do you enforce cooperation? You have to find ways to link, causal effects, blah, 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 right? In my opinion, in US politics, civility, okay? This is where we kind of want to be, all right? We want to be here where things are civil, all right? Meaning we're not killing each other or having a.
Yeah, Hans Mayer says Stephen has the highest viewership since last year right now. Yeah, but you understand that like that highest viewership is coming at a price, right? You understand that?
Opinion. In US politics, civility, okay? This is where we kind of want to be, all right? We want to be here where things are civil, all right? Meaning we're not killing each other or having a bad time enacting violence against each other. This would be like ideal. This is a good world, okay? Right now, at best, we're in this world, okay?
Grassroots 20, Hobbes, not my dog, the philosopher, outlines the prisoner's dilemma, but he does it in the context of the state of nature, which he views as a condition where might is righteousness and self-justifying. Interesting. I guess I have to read more Hobbes. I'm going to speed him up a little bit. He's a little bit slower than usual, but it's because he's drawing.
This here is not the worst world. We're just pretending that it is, okay? The reason why it doesn't make sense for Democrats to disavow over and over and over again when Republicans won't do it is because there is a worse world for this. And the worst world is, I'll call it genocide. I mean, you can put whatever you want here. Genocide, absolute violence, one-sided firing squad, whatever, execution. There is a worse world than this one here. And that worse world is one side enacting violence.
True. I'm with this. I understand it.
And the problem is that the Republican rhetoric is pushing us in that direction, where the Republicans want to push us here, right? Where it's a Dem utter loss. And they do that by already trying to say that we are here, right? You've heard the Republicans say over and over again, it's all left-wing violence, it's all left-wing violence, it's all left-wing violence. And they do that as a call to their own side that they need to respond with violence. So the reason why I'm not sympathetic to people saying we need to turn down the temperature, well, just because the other side isn't doing it doesn't mean we can't. No, fuck you. We're not in the worst world right now. This world, right?
Okay, yeah, sorry, I have to save this and I have to make a new one, okay? Civility, violence, genocide, genocide. Let's get that going. So file save as prisoner dilemma 1. Yeah, sorry, I hate to say it, but Steven's wrong, okay? Let's make a new one. Listen, guys, I'll admit it. There's a certain incentive, I guess, to disagree with Steven, just to be like, oh, I'm my own guy. I'm my own man. And so there's this always this thing in the back of the head of like, what can I disagree with Steven on? But I'm just going to tell you straight up, this is easy to disagree on, because I think his analysis is fine. I think his prescription sucks ass. Genocide left, genocide right. Okay, we're never going to get here, by the way. And the reason why is because you can't. You can never fully kill a political binary. These things are almost inherent to nature. Temperamentally, left versus right, left is caring about people more than institutions, and right is caring about institutions as a vehicle in order to care about people. There will be no time at which point you ban every person who thinks that you should defer to traditional institutions, and there will be no time in which you ban people who care about people more than they care about institutions. That's not going to happen. Okay? So Steven is right in that this is where we want to be. This is good. All right? And then Steven is also right. Oh, sorry, let me make the screen. That this is bad and we shouldn't do it. But we also shouldn't have a complete abdication of political power from the left, and we shouldn't have a complete abdication of political power from the right. But what I'm arguing, again, because I feel like this is almost like a fucking straw man of what anybody is calling for. Nobody is calling for you not to be capable of violence. Maybe this is just like a liberal thing. I have no fucking idea. I can't remember the last time that I've ever said anybody like, listen, liberals should never know or train how to engage. I think I've said the opposite almost my entire life. Liberals and the right wing and all people of good conscience need to be capable of righteous violence, and they need to be engaged in civility with anybody who's willing to engage with civility about them. It's literally reciprocity. I can't believe that I have to articulate a concept as simple as reciprocity, but reciprocity is the name of the game. It's like a Jordan Peterson concept. It's you being harmless is not virtuous. Being capable of great violence but exercising restraint is virtuous. Strikos. This is something you guys take massive shits on Jordan Peterson. Meanwhile, Steven is completely misunderstanding something that's like fundamental to the way that our country is going to operate for the next 5 to 10 years. So unless he like completely reworks this drawing in order to say exactly what I'm saying, I'm going to disagree with him. And not only am I going to disagree with him, I'm going to think it's kind of stupid. What was this? This was the prisoner dilemma. I don't know if I spelled it right too. Sorry, I'm going to see what else he says, but unless he changes his tune, I think he's absolutely fucking wrong.
Which is this part of the prisoner's dilemma box. This world is preferable right here to this world or this world. And the one-sided calls for just us, we just need to disavow. No, I'm sorry.
No, Steven, no one is saying, oh my God, you think disavowing violence means unilateral surrender? Why? Why does disavowing extrajudicial and extralegal murder mean a unilateral surrender? That does not make sense to me whatsoever.
The president of the United States without having any fucking idea at all who the actual shooter is, has already blamed one side. Okay? They've already blamed one side. I don't want to be in this world or this world. I would rather be in this world, as much as it sucks. It's not a good world to be
Yeah. That would be where it's what I labeled as mutually assured destruction.
in. It sucks. The best world would be this one. But in the prisoner's dilemma, one person can't get you here. Both players independently have to make decisions. And there is no virtue in making this decision over and over and over and over and over again, especially when
You're not doing, no one's done that. The left wing has not unilaterally surrendered all political, institutional, and social power for the past decade. This is a complete misreading of the past decade of political history. I don't agree with this at all. I don't think the left has chosen the zero-sum right-wing wins game over and over and over again. I think that's total fucking cope.
it's not just you playing, but you're making decisions that impact your group as well. You can't constantly advocate for this world and pretend that you're being moral, because the other player has no incentive, because they're benefiting the whole time. This is what I say when I talk about like making fun of people who die and
Nobody's saying that.
all of this stuff, is that it seems crass and it seems bad, but there's a reason why people dehumanize people, because it's effective for your political movement. It works. It does. There's a reason why people have done this historically and why they continue to do it, why the Republicans continue to do it. So in my mind, it is immoral to ask this or whatever, when that's what Republicans are pushing us towards. Both sides have to be willing to come up here. Civility can't happen on one side.
True. This is why this is my model. I've had this model since 48 hours ago, okay? So you must be capable of civility with every person who engages in civility with you. You must be capable of violence and engaging with anybody who's engaging with violence with you. But this should be righteous, defensive, and legal violence. It should not be assassination, which I would put in the genocide left, genocide right thing. That's where you're trying to create a scenario in which you are winning and the opponent is losing. That's why they don't want to engage in that game. So even within Stephen's own framework, like, I don't agree with what he's saying. And then also, he's saying that he prefers mutually assured destruction over civil war. But who can say, like, during a war, why are you incapable of being magnanimous with your enemies? That's where you're being civil. Civil war. Why can't we be civil during the Civil War? Is my question to Stephen.
If Dems don't back down, does a stalemate occur? No, you just stay here in the violence area. We need to demand civility from Republicans then. In my opinion, I think that Trump doing a unilateral call, or at least a both sides call for reducing rhetoric, not just on the Dems, but on both sides, I think that should be conditional of a government shutdown. I think that that's one of the demands that, and I think that's an easy demand, and it should be rhetorically popular with at least 60% of the country. Donald Trump should be able to come out and speak for at least 2 to 5 minutes and say that everybody needs to calm the fuck down. Not just Democrats, everybody. Without blaming Dems, without talking about Antifa, without talking about Joe Biden, everybody. Destiny, this is all in line with the tit-for-tat strategy suggested for prisoner's dilemma over multiple instances. Only cooperate with the betrayer if they come back to cooperation first. Sure, yeah. Yeah, because you can logic your way to the betrayal thing over and over again if the other person's never willing to cooperate. Because logically, that is your best move. You can't cooperate while the other person defects over and over and over again. You can't do that. It's a losing strategy. It's a super mega losing strategy. It's worse than the violent one. Destiny, what if
Nobody said unilateral surrender of the left. Nobody fucking said this. Nobody has said this. I've never said this. No liberal has said this. Hutch hasn't said this. Pisco hasn't said this. Josiah hasn't said this. Nobody said this. That's where I don't understand why he can say that, like, there are currently liberals and progressives and leftists who are calling for a unilateral surrender of all political power by the left. That hasn't happened. I don't understand why he thinks that's the position that we're in right now, or that people are pushing for that. I don't understand.
About civil war, does that live under violence and is acceptable? Yes, civil war, again, it sucks and it's not popular to say. Civil war is up here, okay? Civil war is not the worst outcome.
It can be when you lose. Civil war can 100%. You can start in the 33 and end up in the 5-0. That's unironically what happened to the Confederacy. The Confederacy started in the American Civil War in the, we're not going to take it. You're not going to take our black people. You're not going to ban slavery in the Western United States. If you want our slaves, come and take it. And then the Union was like, bet, we're going to fucking shoot you full of lead balls. And so we started in the 33 where it was contested. And then eventually the Confederacy lost due to the superior logistics of the federal government and the Union North. and the Union North ended up winning the Civil War. So the whole point of what I'm trying to say and what everybody I know is trying to say is that you need to be ready for 33 and you need to be ready for 11. Okay, like I get that I'm not calling out these boxes correctly based off of their labels. You need to be ready for 33 defensively, legally, but you need to be pushing for 11 with all of your might, heart, and soul. Okay? And so what's going to happen is if you say, well, fuck it, you don't want to meet me in 11, so I'm only going to engage in 33, then you're making it an increased probability that you're going to end up in the 0-5 loss sum game. So I actually think that even within his own framework, he's playing the game wrong.
This is the worst outcome. And I know it sucks and it feels bad to say it, but this outcome here is still preferable to the unilateral laying down of arms. Ask any group of people that have been genocided before. Because the problem is right now, this is a question I've asked, I think for years, is what is the line in the sand? And right now, I've never heard a Republican give one. I've never heard a conservative give one. And it doesn't seem like Trump has one. There are no breaks. I have not seen any.
Lethal Lance, don't tell me how to run my content. You watch all the other content that I create without complaint. Don't tell me how to run my fucking content. I love you, but that's annoying as fuck.
Thing where Trump has been like, oh, maybe this one went a little bit too far. Maybe we went a little too far. I haven't seen it. I don't know what that line in the sand is.
Okay. You want to watch tit for tat? Same thing, basically. Destiny streamer tit for tat. Let's see if there's a clip. This debate I watched, war is coming, the actually don't know anything. Is this the one that you want? Trump's lawyer, attorney defends his client against Destiny. Destiny's son exiles a sneaky Drew Pablo. Vosh triggers the fuck out of him. Is it this one? I mean, I'll pull up this clip and then I guess I'll pull up this one just so we make a longer segment out of it. But again, I don't agree. I don't think he's presented a single fucking thing
if you're right.
3-minute clip.
And I don't think you are, but let's say you are. Then what is the best thing that a Democrat should do right now? What
your
are
moral
you
obligation?
Democrat
your moral obligation is to fight whatever way you can until the other side is ready to go back to civility.
Are there any limits on that?
It's what you match. It's tit for tat.
Okay. Gen Z attorney has a real big boy job, which is why he's not going to say what I'm going to say. Okay. So let's see what they say. And then I'll say it for Gen Z attorney if he can't say it.
It's tit for tat. You match whatever they're doing.
The most successful biological, that's the most successful survival pattern that's ever been discovered in all of computer science and all of evolutionary history. Yes. Every other strategy is defeated.
We can caveat and say in a video game, but I think we know exactly what that means. If it's tit for tat, well, what was the tit that just happened? Which means what is the tat in response? Like
the tat. Okay. And what Gen Z attorney is saying, which he's not going to reinforce because I've already seen this clip, is that the tit that just happened was an alternative media figure of the right who was super popular, was just assassinated. So the tat for that is a super popular right-wing or left-wing alt media creator needs to be killed if we're playing tit for tat. Okay. Now, Destiny can argue that the Minnesota State House representative being assassinated by a Trumper was the tit, and Charlie Kirk getting assassinated is the tat. But when we don't agree on the evidence surrounding those scenarios, then it seems like we can endlessly excuse political assassination because our political assassinations are based and their political assassinations are cringe. So this is a totally, in my opinion, dipstick philosophy. I don't like it. I think it's stupid.
Is that not a problem?
Wait. Are you implying that the other side?
You said.
Wait.
Yes, a right winger was just shot. So based off of tit for tat, a left winger should be shot. That's the logic of your worldview, Stephen.
Yeah. Are you implying that I'm worried that Republicans are going to call for violence now? Because they've already all done that. What are you talking about?
Okay, and I'm saying the tit for tat. We've had the tit, and now you're saying that what has to come next is the tat.
And the tat would be a left winger getting killed.
And
I love tits.
Yeah, and that's where we've been for 10 years since 2016. Is the back and forth. Yeah, and the other side is unwilling to return to civility.
So yeah, I would look though at who have been the most effective political leaders as far as actually effectuating real change in the country, really throughout its history. Is it the people? Just to take one example, was it MLK? Was it Malcolm X?
True. MLK was he might be dead, but he was infinitely more influential than fucking Malcolm X.
the one who said, let's actively practice civil disobedience as we're being hosed down, as we're getting dogs set on us.
Because it appealed to Christian morality, and most of the country have some intuitive sense of Christian morality.
We're going to remain unerringly peaceful in the face of this horrific violence, because that is what's going to garner sympathy and win people to our side and persuade hearts and minds. Was it that guy who got massive legislation passed, or was it the guy saying, no, actually, they've oppressed us, they've shot us, they've killed us, they've lynched us, it's time to take up arms and defend ourselves, which is the mentality that
MLK's attachment to nonviolence was a strategy that was effective because people could accurately perceive that one side was attacking the other. Right now, you have an entire media apparatus that is lying to the entire country about who's committing the violence, about who's radicalizing everybody. They are unable to perceive what's actually happening. That's the issue. Again,
listen, bro, I'm all about saying that disproportionately violence comes from the right. I'm all about saying that like Dylan Roof and the grocery store shooter and a bunch of mass shooters are white nationalists or ethno supremacists. I'm all about that shit, okay? However, the people kind of dismiss that as, oh, these are schizophrenics doing schizo shit. And then when it comes to BLM and the violence of BLM, I don't agree with this, but I hear liberals and Democrats and progressives saying this all the time. They're like, oh yeah, well, it was realistically a protest, and all the homicides that resulted during the BLM movement, not only were they statistically rare, but also they were crimes of opportunity, not of political motivation. And so the right wing is able to dismiss mass shooters as one-off schizophrenics. The left wing is able to dismiss the Summer of Love as a majority peaceful movement. And so as a result, these things that we should be evaluating for a tit for tat metric are not. So okay, hold on. Just as an example, the left wing engaged in tit during the Summer of Love 2020. Okay. So they rioted, they protested for months, but they also rioted, and they also did billions of dollars in property damage, and also around 35 people got killed. So in order to demonstrate what the right wing felt like they were going through at the moment, should they have taken 6 months in order to riot, do $1 billion worth of damage, and kill 35 people through crimes of opportunity? Obviously fucking not. And then same thing with January 6, 2021. So the right wing lied about the election. Donald Trump lied about the election. He said that we're on the verge of losing our republic, and if Mike Pence doesn't vacate the electors and do a recount, then we're going to lose our republic. And the right wing did a riot that threatened the peaceful transfer of power within the United States. As lefties, as liberals, progressives, and Democrats, in order to do tit for tat, should you guys go to Washington, D.C. right now, throw a riot, beat up on some cops, have a few cops die from suicide and cardiovascular issues? Obviously fucking not. It's so obvious. Why? No. Absolutely not. This is stupid. I can't wait to get to your guys' steelman positions of what Steven's saying, because I unironically do not believe this, and I think it makes the world a worse place.
and over 80% of conservatives right now don't even believe in the results of the 2020 election. MLK's strategy only worked because people actually saw what was happening, and you didn't have a whole AI system.
I think that's ahistorical as well. I think that's ahistorical. I don't think there was a universal national consensus on whether or not MLK was a good guy until after his death.
Of fucking Russian bots and all this other crazy conservative shit who have all decided, I guess we can fucking lie as long as we, spread our message. That's the difference. If people couldn't actually perceive MLK, the children and everything getting attacked by dogs and shit, then it would have been a dog shit strategy.
Here, Gen Z, let me put it this way, okay? Pacifism only works as a tactic if your opponents actually have a moral compass, right? Like Gandhi worked against the British Empire. He would not have worked against the German Empire because there's a difference in how these two enemies operate.
Real quick, Mick says, counterpoints politics. I feel like there's too much focus on him not a disavowing. It needs to be more focused on the narrative instead of us being apologetic. We need to play the Republican blame game. Yeah, sure. Just say it's a bunch of left-wing schizos. Say, oh, no. This was a freak leftist. They have nothing to do with us. I disavow. They're pieces of shit. Real serious for 200 ARS, which I don't know what that is. I unironically suggested that he should advocate for militias the way the right used to, and he should convince progressives to support 2A, Malcolm X style. Essentially, the left needs to stay sane, but grow some massive balls. Real serious. I'm with you, bro. You guys have given me a shitload of cash today. Again, I'm super sad that I'm super sad that Charlie Kirk had to die for me to make some serious cash. It's super fucking annoying. I don't like that. But let's say that I had like a 6-figure income. Let's say that we're a year from now or something like that. I will take 10% of my income and I will do disaster relief volunteer efforts the way that I did during Hurricane Ian. But not just that. I would love to buy guns and ammo and teach liberals how to shoot. Because I don't care if you're a liberal or a Republican, as long as you care about preserving the Republic of the United States, I'll show you how to defend yourself. I'll show you how to run an AR-15, how to clean an AR-15. I'll show you how to run a Glock, how to clean a Glock. I'll show you how to run a Mossberg 500 and how to clean a Mossberg 500. I'll show you all that shit. And then I'll teach you how to operate in rooms and work with malfunctions. And I am almost uniquely positioned, not uniquely positioned, but I am positioned as a political commentator in order to, as a former law enforcement officer and as a former military member, I am pretty well positioned in order to give you endless amounts of advice on self-defense and like legal and extra legal violence. Now, the extra legal violence, I'm going to be telling you, don't do it. But I can still give you a lot of insights on how extra legal violence operates. So yeah, once again, just to kind of bring this home, because I think we've been all over the place and I've effectively said that I don't believe Steven and I think he's wrong. I think Steven thinks that he says he's violating for this in order to avoid this. I'm advising to do both of these simultaneously. Then I think that Steven's rhetoric is counterproductive and inflames the right wing in order to push for a scenario in which they all win. But realistically, I'm advocating for staying in the mutually assured destruction category and then constantly pushing to get back to avoiding a civil war. So again, like tactically, we might agree on what we want to achieve, but tactically, I think Steven's making a mistake. I think he's making a mistake, and I think he's making the problem worse.
You cannot simply lie down and let your opponents destroy you and hope.
Nobody's advocating for that. Nobody said that. No liberal said that. I guarantee you. Josiah didn't say that. Pisco didn't say that. I didn't say that. Hutch didn't say that. IRI didn't say that. Frickin' Straight Array didn't say that. There's not a single person on the left who said condemning extra legal and extrajudicial violence means giving up your ability to participate in politics or to engage in legal defensive violence. I have no idea where this perspective is coming from. I don't think Tally said that. I don't even think Dev said that. I don't know where the fuck this point is coming from. It's a bad point.
Hope that your suffering moves their hearts, not if their hearts aren't going to be moved.
Okay. Somebody said that there was one more I should check out.
The suspect, in this case, had a furry fixation, meaning that he was fixated on this very online, very weird subculture of the internet in which people sexualize animals, fetishize people dressed as animals. And he had a trans boyfriend, which of course is not surprising in any way, shape, or form.
Boyfriend, girlfriend? We don't even know. They have no idea. One thing that I've said that's very frustrating, and maybe there are journalistic reasons that my mind just can't comprehend that don't matter to the end of the destruction of this planet, and there's some stupid code of ethics or whatever journalists, these retards hang on to that makes so they can't publish this. If somebody were to publish the last 2 months of Discord logs of this guy in the room, people on the internet could
No, I don't accept this. Christian Blair says, unfortunately, all libs and progressives are cucked on guns, and everyone doesn't want the far left to increase training in militias. Yeah, that's bullshit. Sorry, I'm not saying that. Sorry, I'm trying not to get angry. Listen, there is a broad. Here's. Fuck, I need to do another painting. Here is the spectrum of gun violence, okay? Here is the United Kingdom, where you have to register your butter knives. Here is the United States, where you can own a tank with 105 millimeter cannon with the right paperwork. There's probably like Ethiopia, right? Or Somalia. So let's go ahead and reduce this size. This is the United Kingdom. Need permit for steak knives. Okay. This is the United Kingdom, in my opinion, on civilian firearms ownership. Then I would say there's probably Switzerland, where you probably have pretty strict gun laws, but state issued assault rifles. Then you have, well, actually, let's move that more towards the center, I suppose, because there's a bunch of other cocked European nations right there. Then I would say in the US, we actually strike a pretty good balance between private civilian arms ownership and self-defense. You can own a tank with a permit. And then there's Somalia. Somalia, you can own a tank without a permit. A permit because there is no government. So in the reference of violence, okay, even if you're in the United States and you think, oh, I don't really like guns, like maybe I think for self-defense, you know, maybe they're justified, or maybe I think that, you know, 3-gun is kind of cool, or I want to learn how to be a cowboy or something like that. There are 10,000 freaking things that I can teach you within this realm of acceptable gun opinions within the United States. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to draw more lines. I'm just going to put 10,000 things. So even if you're somebody who doesn't like guns, 10,000 things I can train you on. So even if you don't like guns, even if you think they should only be used for self-defense, even if you think AR-15s are scary, even if you want to be a cowboy shooter where you exclusively shoot guns that are 150 years old, there are 10,000 things that I can teach you in order to be competent within the spectrum. And so to say that just because you don't like guns, you need to be a cucked UK person, I think is bullshit. I think it's total cope, total bullshit. Gun spectrum cope. And so, no, you don't need to be a Somali where you own rocket propelled grenades without a government permit because you don't have a government. You don't need to be an AR-15 gun person. You don't need to be a revolver person. There's 10,000 things to learn right here, and you don't need to be Swiss and you don't need to be the UK. So fuck that is what I have to say to Christian Valeris.
Instantaneously tell you exactly where this guy comes from. I don't trust any journalist, to be quite frank, especially none of these media
Hippopotaman, thank you for becoming a member.
pundits who are all super bought into a super narrative to try to ascertain the political identity of the person based on trying to read a few logs of whatever, right? Because there's
His prescription is for people to act like E. Warren. Well, I don't know who E. Warren is. Who's E. Warren? E. Warren. Like Elizabeth Warren? What? What are you talking about? Use more descriptive words. Brenton says, it's so disheartening. I really like Destiny and the way his mind works and analyzing an issue, but he's destroying himself with stupid decisions. Listen, there, but for the grace of God go I. We all have cringe takes every now and then. Your favorite streamer is allowed to have a bad take every now and then. It's fine.
so much irony. There's so much memery, right? Like I even saw people say, like people were saying things like, oh, well, the bullet said, if you read this, you're gay, LeMayo. Well, an LGBT
Lol, based.
person would never say that. So he must be right-wing. Bullshit. You can find plenty of ironic LGBT people that would say something exactly like that. If you read this, you're gay.
True.
LOL, right? Or for the Bulgy-Wolgy thing, you know? Like, oh, well, Bulgy-Wolgy, that's anti-trans or pro-trans. No, not necessarily. This could literally come from Fuentes' community. Jokes about femboys and trans shit a ton, right? We joke about Bulgy-Wolgy trans shit sometimes. Like, that used to be the meme. I had to ban it from my Discord because it was so annoying. What was it? His fucking trans person gay or traps gay or whatever. Like, that's a meme that was like ubiquitous through so many online communities. This idea of people trying to say like, oh, he was a furry, oh, he belonged to this, or like, how the I would need to see the logs. I want to see, just show us like 2 months of logs and you'll be able to tell so fast how he speaks about things, how he jokes about things, what communities he was a part of. But this like leak of like 1 or 2 statements, you know, every 12 hours from his logs, like, I don't know what the this means.
Reform.
Fast and Bulbous is absolutely correct. $5. Thank you for the super chat, King. Connor's political life for the past decade. Clowns to the left of me, jokers on the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you, dude, and I am paying the price.
And the slogans that were etched apparently on the bullets were all gamer and or trans-oriented slogans. Notices bulge, OWO, for example.
Sorry, I do think that's funny. Obviously, Charlie Kirk getting murdered, total cringe, but the fact that there were memes on the bullets that if I died, if I was shot by a bullet, marked on the side of the bullet was, if you're looking at this, you're gay, even though I would be dead, so I wouldn't be capable of knowing that. I would be embarrassed of having been murdered by that bullet.
According to the New York Post,
Like, I don't even know if that's necessarily a trans thing. Notice as bulgy wolgy. I feel like that's more of like not like an LGBT trans thing. I feel like that's more of like a girl, like 4chan. Like, I went to this girl the other day and she took her pants off.
Dreamcast says, Connor, there's a difference between virtuous civility and being passive to the other side's aggression. Yeah, I agree.
And I was shattered because she didn't have a like. I feel like it's more like I don't even know how to call that necessarily like an LGBT community meme or trope, right? But again, I don't have to see the context, you know.
Oh my God, Lethal Lance and Fashion 40, shut the fuck up. My analysis was perfectly fine and in line with what Steven said. I pause every other video I talk about where I pause every few minutes and I contend with what's being said almost immediately. But because it's your daddy Destiny and you've already pre-watched it, you can't just let me watch the content. Shut the fuck up. Like Lethal Lance, I love you. I parasocially love you. I enjoy having you on Twitter. I thank you for the backup on Twitter. Fashion 40, same thing. You've pissed me off a few times, but I also love you, and you've super chatted even when you shouldn't have. But so I parasocially love both of you guys. But can you shut the fuck up? Like seriously, you only complain when I'm pausing and reacting to Destiny. But if I pause and react to any other creator, you let it ride. Come on. Be consistent, please.
alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson appeared to have a fixation on furries, while his live-in transgender boyfriend espoused support for President Joe Biden and joked about being mentally ill, according to social media posts linked to the pair.
Like, all of these things he's citing are like hearsay and hearsay and like reports of reports. Like, I don't know how true any of this is. Again, I haven't seen it explained. I don't know if anybody is explained it. Maybe the governor has, and I need to watch his speech. Did the person live away from home? Did the person actually live?
You guys are retarded. I hate this. Sorry for using an ableist slur, but you guys are fucking retarded. Here we go. We'll do it again. And I need you to hear me when I say this, okay? Because you guys are, I got 300 people or almost 300 people because plenty of DGG people are interested in DGG clout or DGG content, and not just that, but I am live on my home channel. So quick shill before we start. I'm live on Valor Media Network Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. I'm live on the Counterpoints Politics channel on Tuesdays. That's also where I post my VODs. So if you enjoy the content and you enjoy catching me live, then I want you to type in Valor, V-A-L-O-R, Media, M-E-D-I-A, Network, common spelling, into your search bar. And I want you to subscribe to that channel, and I want to see you tomorrow. Okay? However, some of you are DGG dick riders, and while we are parallel communities, we are not the same thing. And so I'm not going to accept from lefties, ooh, woo, we're so cute, we did nothing wrong, lol, everyone who's mad about anything we've ever done is a fucking cuck. Nope, not accepting this bullshit, okay? So I have sins of the right, and I will admit that the right wing, in my opinion, is infinitely more egregious than the left in their negative impact. Okay, I agree with that. However, just look at this. There's like 14,200,000 people who are going to die on the sins of the right wing, but that does not mean the left wing is without sin. Okay, and if you don't think that the right wing excuses their bad behavior by pointing out all of your flaws, you're coping. Okay. So the point is, you don't make this list unnecessarily longer than it needs to be. It's very simple. I'm not even going to read you all this shit. Read it on your own time. Pause the screen and take a look. But if you don't think trans and drag people reading to kids in sexually suggestive ways, if you don't think the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, the successful assassination of Charlie Kirk, the attempted assassination of Nick Fuentes, if you don't think taking over academia and pop culture to the point that people half the population feels alienated and feel like they're constantly presented as the enemy, if you don't understand this, then you don't understand modern politics. And you're looking for me to fucking jerk you off and tell you that you've never done anything wrong. This is what you're looking for, by the way. This is what you're looking for to the DGGers who are saying, oh, Destiny's based. He never does anything wrong. His perspective is perfectly coherent. You're coping, lol. Like, here's you. Let me pull up this clip. Hold on. Okay, just making sure. I've never done anything wrong. in my life. This is you. This is you.
I have done nothing wrong ever in my life.
I know this. And I love you.
That's what you want. This is what you want from me. I'm going to play this one more time just to emphasize this. This is DGG and to some extent Destiny. This is what you want me to do for you.
I have done nothing wrong ever in my life.
I know this. And I love you.
You want me to be Henry Winkler, and it's not going to fucking happen. So if you're looking for that, go find some fucking liberal circle jerk fucking hell site for you guys to jerk off. Sorry, I'm being really rude. Go find a hug box somewhere else. I'm not your hug box.
At school, did he have a dorm? Because all I've seen explained so far is that he lived from home for a while and did remote learning. I don't know if he even lived outside of his house ever.
Yes, we have a Discord. I'll post it momentarily.
Lance Twiggs, 22, an aspiring pro gamer, and Robinson's roommate, appeared to have made a comment in a 2022 Reddit post stating we are riding with Biden on this glorious subreddit. Twiggs is transitioning from male to female and was in a relationship with the 22-year-old Robinson. Is according
Yeah, I feel like the bulgy-wulgy thing is more furry than trans, but I mean, who knows?
to Governor Spencer Cox. By the way, Spencer Cox is no rabid right-winger on this issue. He's been criticized, I think correctly, by many on the right for being too soft on things like the transing of the children. Here's Spencer Cox.
Governor Cox was on CNN.
The transing of the children.
Where, does anybody have a link to the Governor Cox thing? Governor Cox, CNN. Urges Americans to look in the mirror. Is it this one?
I do want to start with some of the many unanswered questions about the investigation. You told the Wall Street Journal that it is, quote, very clear to us and to the investigators that this was a
Discord link just got posted in chat. So if you want to join the Discord community, there it is.
person who was deeply indoctrinated.
Didn't the bullet say, take this, fascists? One of the bullets said that, but I think on the same bullet, there was the code for...
So can we operate off of probability here, or do I have to keep pretending to be fucking stupid? Do I have to pretend to be stupid for, DGG? Do I have to go, oh, it says catch this fascist. It's probably a groiper. Listen, it's only a groiper if it's a false flag, at which point you need to start presenting evidence for why it's a groiper, besides him squatting in a tracksuit, which is a Pepe meme, and him saying Bella Ciao, which is an anti-fascist song, and you're saying that it's ironic. You're going to need more evidence than that. Sorry.
Or it was like a Helldivers 2 thing for something you enter for a drop or something. I never played Helldivers 2.
leftist ideology. Can you elaborate on that and be more specific?
Well, sure. So that information comes from the people around him, from his family members.
Wait, hold on.
Questions
Sorry.
about the investigation. You told the Wall Street Journal that it is, quote, very clear to us and to the investigators that this was a person who was deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. Can you elaborate on that and be more specific?
Well, sure. So that information comes from the people around him, from his family members and friends.
So this is not true. I don't believe it. This is...
Why is it not true?
I think if this was true, I feel like he would be saying like the FBI has determined this or investigators have now determined this. He's just going by the hearsay that's been reported in the media. I don't think it doesn't sound like he has any more special information about this, but maybe we'll see. I don't know.
That's how we got that information.
Apparently he had his own apartment, but was near his parents. He apparently lived on his own, but was living. I'm banning. Hold on. Okay. Source.
You're banning people because probabilistically it's still a lefty. I don't understand this. I really don't.
Or IP ban. Stop giving me like takes that you think are maybe true. Like just source the article. Give me an article where somebody has like an actual source for a thing. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with his transgender partner. Senior level FBI officials told Fox News Digital. Okay, this is something at least. Oh, this is that Brooke girl. Oh, this is from 2 days ago. Aren't we still waiting on more information about this? Because this was the article that got published, and they're citing FBI officials, but I don't know if the FBI has made a statement about this, unless you count Kash Patel quoting the picture of the headline and then tweeting it. Kill me.
Yeah, you got.
Hans Mayer, you're a veteran of this chat, so I'm not going to try to freak out on you too hard, but because it's an optics game, the Dems play the game of disavow since 2010. The right wing plays the game in exactly the opposite way. They only attack and never disavow, and the left is losing that. No. Okay. Trump was the person who changed our national discourse. It was there's an entire movie with Sebastian Stan playing an early Donald Trump, talking about Roy Cohn Trump. And Roy Cohn was this like flamboyant gay lawyer who taught Donald Trump to be like a smug, manipulative, confident asshole and to never make concessions to the opposition and this, that, the other. And he made Donald Trump the piece of shit that he is today. So what you're advocating for is that we should all become Donald Trump. We should all become Roy Cohn. And I'm not going to play your fucking game, by the way. No, my soul matters to me. I'm not going to lie to win. I'm not going to manipulate people to win. I'm not going to become a piece of shit to win. Okay? You can win without it. And the fact that you think that this is what separates Roy Cohn and Donald Trump's manipulations of reality are what won Trump the presidency is absolute fucking cope. For 2016, you ran a almost uniquely unpopular candidate, a female in a sexist society who is known as a manipulative, lizard, political, efficacious freak who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein in 2016. That was Hillary Clinton, who is uniquely uncharismatic. Then in 2020, you won. Was Biden a Roy Cohn style liar? Was Roy Cohn a manipulator who never made concessions? Biden won, you fucking idiots. You also won the midterms in 18. Did you win the midterms in 18 by lying and being pieces of shit? So the fact that you lose in 24 because of an anemic economy and because a old person with Alzheimer's stayed in the race too late, and then you gave the young replacement, a person of color, female, by the way, in a racist and sexist society, you gave her 4 months to run a presidential campaign. Are you serious? The reason why you lost is because you weren't sufficiently Roy Cohn. You weren't sufficiently a piece of shit. Fuck out of here with that. And no offense to Steven, but kind of fuck Steven for reinforcing that in order to beat Trump, you have to become Trump. Fuck that. No, I'm not giving you permission to be a piece of shit. If you want a permission to be a piece of shit, go to somebody else's chat.
Your officials confirm that Tyler Robinson, 22, was in a romantic relationship with any person who is a male transitioning to a female, so trans woman, that they shared an apartment in St. George, Utah. Those FBI officials told Fox News Digital that Robinson's partner is fully cooperating with the FBI's investigation.
Seriously, are we going to go 9 times out of 10? It's going to be a progressive who's dating a trans girl. You can say that there's some dissident right-wing freaks who unironically fetishize trans women, and I'll agree with you. But if we're not pretending that this isn't a 90%, 10% situation, you're fucking coping. Grassroots of 20. More Hobbes, and you are 100% right. The left versus right is not a wolf running into a lone lamb. It's a large wolf meeting a slightly smaller wolf. In the Hobbesian state of nature, it's a 50-50 victory scenario. Yep.
There is no catch as fascist line in Helldivers. The bugs are just jokingly called fascists. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, gotcha. They haven't really, and then is the up, down, whatever arrows, is that on the same bullet or a separate one? I don't remember. They haven't released pictures yet of the bullets either, right? It's just the FBI guy saying that they have
Death Lily says, yes, Connor is adding in the assassination as Democrats. It's 3 groups, Dems, Republicans, and leftists. Connor is not recognizing this. No shit, Death Lily. This is why I said on Twitter earlier today, wouldn't it have been easier for Steven to pin this on leftists? And I got a bunch of fucking DGGers in my reply saying, well, the right wing doesn't care anyways, so why would we pin this on the leftist? So, sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I don't think liberals and leftists are the same, but I also don't think Christian nationalists and MAGA are the same.
like saying what was on the bullets. It's on the same one. All right. One FBI official told Fox News Digital the individual's been.
He's not talking about assassination. He actually said in that debate, because I already watched it, that he can't say what he wants to do because it's Fed posting. If he's saying he can't do what he's doing for Fed posting, and then a conservative in the chat says, well, we just had an assassination, so what's the tat? And you're being obtuse about that, I'm assuming you mean assassination. So the fact that you're literal, like, no offense, Landon Stewart, but you might have autism.
Extremely cooperative and said the person had no idea Robinson was allegedly planning to assassinate the Turning Point USA founder. Like, I don't know how we... Okay. The apartment Robinson and his partner shared is in the same southern Utah community Robinson's parents live in. It's approximately 4 hours away from Utah Valley University, where Robinson allegedly shot Kirk. So he had his own apartment, but it was in the same city. But it was the... Oh, no, wait. This is where he shot Kirk, not the where he went to school. Did they say the year where he lived in this apartment? It's good Wednesday as he spoke to a crowd at the school.
You guys are pissing me off. Passagiero says, isn't working with the right when when necessary, isn't that seen as surrender? Really? Like Joseph Stalin comes up with legislation that says the sky is blue, and you think that saying, yeah, the sky is blue is unilateral surrender? Adolf Hitler says water is good for you. Kids should drink it for a day. And you're saying, well, Hitler said it, so I can't say it either. Seriously? Come on, guys. I have a 3,000 IQ chat. You guys are not living up to our reputation. You need to do better.
Campus in Orem. Robinson arrived at the father's home. He said he wanted to kill himself. Has any more information come out about? How do we not have any more information about this? This was 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, and there's so much more that we're learning and so much more that we will learn. There will be official charges will be filed on Tuesday, and there will be much more evidence and information available then. And
there'll be new info tomorrow when they file charges. Hopefully the indictment is, well, it's not going to be sealed indictment, right? We'll be able to read it there, I guess.
And again, we're interviewing all kinds of people, everyone that knows him, and trying to learn more about what that motive actually was.
Well, some outlets are reporting that the suspect lived with a transgender partner. Is that accurate? And are investigators looking at this part of his life as a possible motivation?
Yes, definitely. And yes, I can confirm that. I know that has been reported, and that the FBI has confirmed that as well, that the roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say that that he has been very cooperative. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
And how is that relevant to the investigation when it comes to the motive? Are you learning that?
Sure. Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Again, it's easy to draw.
No. Trump is taking over Democratic cities. It's pretty one-sided right now. Nope. As far as I know, the constitutional ruling came back saying that Trump could not federalize and deploy the National Guard for law enforcement purposes. And so as a result, the Chicago deployment of National Guard services has been canceled. So nope. Keep up to date with the information.
Conclusions from that, and so we've got the shell casings, other forensic evidence that is coming in, and trying to piece all of those.
Guys, you're not living up to the reputation. My chat, normally I'm around like 100 to 150, but I have 100 to 150 brilliant people, and there's a lot of new people, and you're not living up to the standard of the COG. You're not living up to the standard of the community of real hottists. Johnny Knapp says, not everyone can kill the other side without dehumanizing them. If Republicans dehumanize the left and the left does not do it, the right will just kill the left. The country is made up of 330 million people. 110 million people don't vote. 110 million people would consider themselves left-wing. 110 million people consider themselves right-wing. And you think that because propagandists and right-wing politicians dehumanize the left, that they will be able to dehumanize the left so unilaterally that they will be able to wipe out 110 million people from political life without repercussions? Are you fucking high? Because that's what you just said, Johnny. You're not living up to the standards of my community. You need to do better. That is terrible. That is terrible commentary. Void Paris says Connor's mom and Ken are feeling ignored. Sorry, Ken. Sorry, Ma. Sorry for saying crazy shit, but no offense. Lots of people are really pissing me off today. Audacity for 10. My least favorite reply guy on Twitter for $10 says, guys, civility is really important. Anywho, here's a 48-hour straight Spurgfest of me saying some of the most inflammatory things ever, and they trying to small bean my way out of it on Piers Morgan. Well, he's making fun of Destiny instead of me this time, so I'll take it. Hi, Audacity, you fucking dickhead. Thanks for the super chat. Grassroots20 says, also give Gen X a wrench in here, you monster. Oh, shit. Gen X doesn't have a wrench. All right, let me get Gen X a wrench.
Things together.
You said that the roommate is being very helpful. Has that individual explained to law enforcement what the mindset of the shooter was and whether or not it is connected to his ideology or his situation as transitioning, as you just described?
I'm not sure about not sure about that piece right now, Dana.
Okay, so we're not sure if that.
If we're not sure about that, then why the fuck would we say anything at all about this?
Because dollars to donuts, 9 out of 10 times, if you have a trans roommate, you're going to be a progressive or a liberal. And then 1 out of 10 times or 1 out of 100 times, you're going to be a dissident right-wing freak who fetishizes trans people. That's why it's relevant. I don't know why we're pretending to be obtuse. I feel like Steven, I swear to God, I feel like Steven is playing dumber for a dumber chat. What is this? Is Connor mad today? I'm super fucking mad today. Where's Gen X? Gen X, write in chat so I can promote you. Where are you? Where are you, Gen X? I don't even see you. Somebody's complaining, trying to get you a wrench, and I don't even see Gen X. Western Hegemony says, by that logic, Lindsey Graham would be a liberal pro-gay politician. Laugh my ass off. Does Lindsey Graham have a trans person? Is Gen X? I can't at them. There's no way. There's no way Gen X would leave me. No, they're fucking with me. She left like 5 days ago. Go fuck yourself. You're wrong. Kay, you don't... Yeah, I'll give Kay a wrench, I guess. Channel activity, go to the channel, blah, 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 add as moderator. Standard. Nah, Gen X wouldn't... Gen X super chatted yesterday. Don't fucking lie to me. Yeah, I know. You guys are fucking lying. You're trying to piss me off. All right, well, Gen X isn't here, so I got Kay a wrench. So Kay can start throwing wrenches at people's faces. All right, anyways.
Like, what do we... Like, why not say the race of the roommate? Or like the country of origin? Or like what major they had in college? Or... That's such a weird piece of information to fixate on.
No, it's not.
On without any other link to any information, but okay, good one.
That the fact that he was romantically involved, as you say, with his partner who was transitioning is relevant to the motive of the murder based on the investigation.
Well,
sure.
Did he say that?
Again, all of these things are we're trying to figure it out.
Oh my God. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to Google things that should already be... What was written on the bullets that killed Charlie Kirk? Here's what some of the bullets, casings, and engravings had on them. Many of the messages adopt the flippant, sarcastic chatter often found on online message boards and in-game chats. Up arrow, right arrow, and 3 down arrow symbols is reference to Helldivers. Another phrase on the cartridges, notice bulges, ooh woo, what's this? That's like a furry sex thing. Some other messages on the unfired cartridges appear more politically straightforward, including one that says, hey fascist, catch, which I would assume that if you were shooting a fascist, you're probably an anti-fascist if you're not an accelerationist. Another featured the words Bella Ciao, which is an anti-fascist resistance song during World War II that's sometimes cooperative. So no offense, guys. You're fucking coping. If you don't think it's 90-10 a leftist, Destiny's coping, you're coping, and I'm not going to help you cope, okay? Cope somewhere else. I'm not going to help you.
I know everybody wants to know exactly why and point the finger, and I totally get that. I do too. And so I just want to be careful, as I haven't read all of the interview transcripts, and so we'll have to wait and see what comes out.
Yeah,
you have interview transcripts, and you haven't read them? You could be giving us the most information of all right now. What the?
Totally agree with you. We should all be careful. I guess just because that's out there, there are a lot of people drawing conclusions. And so I'm just trying to get as many facts as we can glean from you since you have been involved in the investigation. And on that, the social and gaming platform Discord released a statement saying its servers were in no way involved in Tyler Robinson's alleged plot to assassinate Charlie Kirk. But it did say there were, quote, communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting where the roommate was recounting the contents of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. Can you tell us about that note that the shooter left?
So I can't yet. Again, those are things that are still being processed for accuracy and verification, and will be included in charging documents.
Okay, so but the note was found, or the content of the note is known by law enforcement?
Yeah, again, I can't share any specifics there.
Effectuating is not a word. Pretty sure it is. I think you just misspelled it. Effectuating, put into force or operation. It is a word. You're wrong. Ha 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 ha. Suck it. Suck it. You're not cog material.
You get everything right now.
Understood. I just want to go back to my first question about what you told the Wall Street Journal about that this is a person indoctrinated with leftist ideology. And the reason why I think it would be great to be more specific is because your goal of trying to lower the temperature, you said that this is based on investigation and
based on how this shit's been handled, I feel like if there's anything bad for Dems, it'd have been leaked by now, right? My assumption would be if they found some like smoking gun, bad analogy.
I'm sorry, catch fascists and having a trans roommate. It's not a smoking gun, but can we say that we're 90% of the way there? Or are we just coping about that?
Maybe, but that it would have absolutely been leaked at this point. Like it feels hardcore, like a grasping at straws thing, but
A Fox News alert. Charlie Kirk's murder suspect refusing to cooperate as the FBI discovers new details about his dark digital footprint before he makes his first court appearance tomorrow.
All right, FBI Director Kash Patel joins us now. I can't imagine, Mr. Director, how busy you've been, especially Charlie Kirk isn't just a impactful person, he's your friend. So
how busy you've been fielding calls from people.
I understand that. But having said that, people are looking to you to find out is how big this investigation is going to be. Can you tell us the latest?
Absolutely. It's so good to be with you. And you're right. My personal feelings and relationship with Charlie, I have a job to do for the American people, and I'm committed to do it for President Trump. We flexed.
Release the Epstein files, you. I'm trying not to say anything too mean. He looks puffy. He looks puffy. He looks like his suit is too tight and it's puffing up his face.
All resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did, once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was
Real serious for ARS 200. Look how the right handles this exact issue. Would ask if they would lower the flag for Hortman. Trump was like, who? What? Sure, I guess. But bro played dumb on a heinous issue, which still came out topically actively. This doesn't change my prescriptions, guys. You're just saying the right is worse. I know. I know, guys. I know. Look, I made drawings for you. Go ahead and pause. Excuse me. Pause your video. Sins of the left, sins of the right. I will admit that everything on the right is worse than the things on the left, but the things on the left are still bad. And you still have to acknowledge them. And I appreciate some of you in chat acknowledging them. But you need to understand that your sins motivate the other side, quote unquote. So if you think that they don't, and you think you can do whatever the fuck you want because your opposition is worse, the answer is wrong. You're wrong. And not just that. My prescription is going to remain, you engage in civility and diplomacy first, but you always be ready for defensive and legal violence. That's what these two drawings mean. That's what this drawing means. You always engage in diplomacy first, but you also be ready to blast your opponent in the face with a Desert Eagle. And if your enemy brings up their hand to shake your hand, you shake their hand. And if your enemy brings up a gun in order to shoot you in the face, then you shoot them in the face first. It's very simple, guys. It's very simple.
There was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I need to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, Mr. Director, that is vital. That is breaking news and vital information because now you have the casings for the gun. So you connect the gun. Now you got his DNA on it. That's huge. But I also want to get to another part.
I just got to interrupt. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. We have the DNA on the screwdriver that was found on the rooftop and the towel that the firearm was wrapped in. The firearm itself, this is a great point. Thanks for raising it.
Yeah, no problem.
That is being processed by ATF laboratories in Maryland. And I believe they'll speak to that at a later date when their process is incomplete. But I just want to let you know the FBI handled the screwdriver and the towel found on the scene.
That is important clarification, Mr. Director.
What does that mean?
To get to the 20 members in that group chat. Have they been brought in for questioning? And the group chat that from our reporting that we're hearing is from after the assassination. Do you have the messages from before the assassination?
Well, let me take a step back and tell you what we were doing while we were there and how we.
Nobody said that, Thraxamundar. Holy shit, you guys are going to drive me insane. We've been doing the same stuff for 10 months, and now we're supposed to take the blame for all political violence. This is entirely beyond the pale of all politics as usual. No. No, you fucking assholes. You guys are arguing for something no one's arguing for. No one is arguing for unilateral surrender. Nobody's arguing for unilateral surrender. Your allies are not arguing for unilateral surrender. I'm not arguing for unilateral surrender. Take a look at my replies. Take a look about how schizophrenic it is. I've been talking about Kash Patel, Epstein files. I've been talking about the murder of Melissa Hortman. I've been making fun of right-wingers who are promising us civil war. I've been responding to stuff about Destiny, and I've been trying to minimize what I can within my small sphere to make sure that he doesn't get murdered. I've been talking shit to LawTube Sean, who's a fucking dickhead. This is one thing that's actually funny. It's the guy who hypnotizes his friend.
If I snap my fingers you forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something, then snap your fingers, and then be like, I was never gay.
You say so.
Classic. So anyways, but the point is that, like, I'm in here fighting about Melissa Hortman within the past 48 hours. Now, is this praxis? No, this is me tweeting on my phone. So it's not really like that huge of a deal. But if you think that I'm saying that the left wing has to take responsibility for Melissa Hortman's death, then you're not paying attention and you're not listening.
We were led to the suspect so that this all fits into the puzzle. We, as soon as we learned of the shooting, we were able to, I think Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23.
All right, I think I'm good. In summary for this, I think Steven's wrong. I think he's being obtuse in reference to whether or not the shooter is probably a lefty. I put it at 9-1, I put it at 90% that this is a left-wing shooter. I will reserve 10% or 1% of my belief structure for the fact that he could be a right-wing accelerationist with a trans girlfriend. But I think the people who think that it's a 50-50, I think you're coping. I think you're 100% coping. I think Steven's coping about it. I think him coping about it, and he's a smart guy, is allowing you guys to cope about it. I think that same thing with the debate. I think the optics are trash. I think the tactics are trash. I think the prisoner's dilemma description is okay, but I don't think Steven is accomplishing what he thinks he's accomplishing, and I will criticize him for it. So I'm not going to disavow him or stop being his friend or stab him in the back or any of that bullshit, but I will say, hey, I think this argumentation is stupid as fuck. Trump is one of the most reviled and hated men in history. You want to be one of the most reviled and hated men in history? Are you crazy?